name is Paulina. I'm probably gonna turn this light off, but I just wanted to have it on for 1 second. Or at least part of the reading, so that I'm not in the dark. But I would like to say that this is a reading. I will probably be taking a break because I've expended a lot of energy and I want to change the energy so that I can get new messages. But I really, I know no one watches my channel, but I really enjoy doing these messages, and I see them sort of also as time capsules that like someone in the future might watch. And I don't have huge expectations for the long ones. I know that it's like really a short format kind of thing, unless you're like, I don't know, like showing off your boobs or something. I'm sorry, it seems like a lot of the tarot card readers that are like get like 24,000 views or something also like they're spiritual, but they also happen to be showing quite a lot of cleavage. I don't think it's coincidental. It's good for them. I don't have cleavage, so I don't have that kind of frame. It would be great to have big boobs like that, but sorry, I don't know why I'm talking about this. I think this is part of the reading actually, that you're like, so the reading is about someone rejecting you and your feelings about it and their feelings about it and what happened here. And then also I feel like you're feeling like just like bewildered kind of, and you're kind of like trying to think of reasons for why this happened. I'll turn this off. So I don't even have my full deck. I think there's some of it is not here, but that's okay because this is, I feel like, the cards that we're meant to use. I do that sometimes. So let's just get like sort of an energy signature for this interaction where this person, I guess it sounds like, abandoned you or left you or just like cut you off. And it feels like it was during a time where it was like really not a good time for that. Okay, deception. This person was like deceiving you a lot about their true feelings. And they may have had like some sort of, you know, just a false face that they showed to you. And what were their true feelings? Let's see what their true feelings really were at this time of knowing you. Page of Swords. They were curious about you. They were researching you. They were watching you, maybe online. Maybe you had like a art or writing or just even photography blog or something. And they were watching what you're doing. But what else about this? They saw you as like naive and maybe like stupid. I'm sorry if that is like hurtful. I think this person has a huge ego, actually. Which, if this is a cross watcher, it might be hard for them to hear, but we're gonna get your feelings about this too. You felt like this person just like snuck out in the middle of the night and did some sort of like underhanded things. But at the time, I think you were in such a hermitage. You were like so encased within yourself because you were going through something that you were like non-reactive. You were like, this sucks, but not much I can really do. And I don't know if you're still like that, but you may be like realizing how effed up this was. This is some sort of like work situation, either like having to do with work, like maybe you met at work, or like you were employed like for a short time as a contractor, or vice versa, or you were a client or they were a client, or you were coworkers for a long time. It could be anything related to like a skill. And maybe also this person is still learning their skills, just not just in their trade, but like in life. It's a deception card again. I'm reading it as deception in this reading. It also could have other meanings, but here it feels a lot like deception. So why did they just like do that though? I want to know why they feels like just sort of cut you off in a time of need. This is another card about deception, the Magician reversed. It can be like trickery, just sort of like sly sleight of hand, or like, you know, I think that you actually picked up on this sort of duality between of this person in different moments, but you gave a lot of grace, and you were like, I think they actually rejected you because they saw you as reactive or difficult or disrespectful in some way, when I don't think that was your intention. I think you're just maybe a spitfire of a person, which is something I used to be called in college by everyone. I don't know why that was my nickname. Well, I kind of know why, because I like to talk in the critiques because they got so boring, so I would just like, and everyone just would let the teachers talk, so I would just like get really involved and just make it this dialogue. And some men teachers saw that as, all I know is it was the men who dubbed me that, and suddenly I was a spitfire. But it's like, I'm bored, I'm sitting here, I'm paying for this course, let's engage. I'm not just gonna like listen to you lecture here. Like, let me ask you some questions. What do you think? You're the expert. I'm paying for your time. Okay, that may be a thing here too. I think you maybe grilled this person and they don't like that. I think they, whatever the dynamic was, whether you worked together or you were employed by them, or even if it was just like a close friendship that like became something more at one point, they didn't like how, they felt like you were, I don't think this was purposeful. I think this is just how you are, because you naturally bring out people's stuff, but they didn't like how you like probed them. And so they actually made situations where you would get annoyed. Like, they would do things to annoy you, to make you reactive. And I don't even think you got that reactive. You were just like, why are you, like, what is this? Like, this is annoying. And so then they could say, see, you're bad, just like I thought. And that's not fair. That's like a ridiculous game. It's like, well, you're doing things that would annoy people. And it feels like you had some sort of contract or deal with this person to remain in contact. If it was like a love relationship and they constantly went in and out of contact, it was like, I think at a certain point you were just like, I don't care anymore. And then, yeah, but if it was not a love relationship, it was some other kind of support. Let's see how they feel. I'm just getting this like really petty energy. This is the Chariot, and it means like go time, basically. And I think they had this premeditated plan to just like cut you off. And actually, I think it may, this is so like selfish of them, but I think that they may have like changed their schedule or had like a better opportunity for like money, or maybe like met someone, a partner with money, and just like were like, this person's no longer useful to me, because I think you idealized that like whatever interaction was happening was like meaningful and real, and somehow money was attached here, and that's purely how they saw you, which is sad but true. But you felt super like discarded, like you felt like disillusioned. You were just like, wow, okay, geez, thanks. And just really disappointed, bringing up other disappointments and other times of loss. I don't know why this person, it seems like they were, I guess antagonizing is the word. I don't know why they did that to you, because it seems like the situations that they would set up were like deliberately annoying, and that you saw through them and you were like, actually, why are you doing this? And then they couldn't handle that either, that you were like questioning their ways of trying to get rid of you. It's very immature person. Immature here. Page of Wands reversed. Somebody who is not emotionally mature and I think acts a bit childlike. And let's see, how do they feel now about it though? I keep asking how they feel, but how do they feel about like in retrospect? This haunts them, what they did to you actually. They know like there's actually things they may be legal things they did actually that are like not okay, and you're just now like, hey, this is actually illegal what you did. I don't know why that came up. I guess because the swords can be about law, but also they're just not sleeping very much because they're haunted by like how they treated you. Why? I want to know just like why a little more. Like, it seems like it's not clear why they did this. I know they wanted more money. It wasn't convenient. You're probing their psyche. They were like waiting for they had something set up that like you didn't see, like maybe literally your time slot was like taken by some like $400 client that you were just like an $80 client, or reversed, like maybe they saw like they could take their business elsewhere if they were your client, and they were just like, this isn't gonna work anymore because this charge, I found like half the price across town and I'm just gonna leave. Or maybe it was your boyfriend who, like, you know, he doesn't really have his stuff together and you weren't getting along, and then he found somebody with money and he was like, see ya. That's the kind of energy I'm getting. I'm getting someone who's like me first and the gimme gimmes instead of me last and the sherries. And the thing is, it actually put you in a place of fortune because you realized in retrospect only, hindsight is everything. Hindsight is 20/20. You realized that you put up with a lot of BS from this person, and I think it's actually a shadow of someone from your upbringing that you gave you showed deference to. You were just like, well, they can just act however they want and insult me and be mean, and maybe a father figure if it's a man, or a mother if it's a woman. And this person, I want to get a little bit about their pain and like why they would act this way just psychologically. They're very like impulsive and like just like rushing to do things and like hasty, and they think that they now are realizing kind of that they were like an idiot. Like, I'm not calling them that, but this is from their mind. I feel like you were very hurt by this. You were just like, I think there was an instance where they like were, you were in a space together and they were like gruff and rude and like basically did like I'm just seeing like first of all, I'm seeing a bull in a china shop, which is maybe how they treated you if the china shop is your feelings and emotions. And then also I'm seeing like now I'm seeing like just a bull stuck in a pen. I think this person had pent up rage at you actually, and they obviously couldn't express it in like the forum that you were within. And so they chose to just be like incredibly cold and passive aggressive, and you were like, I'm very smart, like I know that you're doing this like weird game, like what is this? And they couldn't handle that either. It's like really childish stuff here. I don't think there's much contact. If there has been, it's been like some sort of logistical thing, and I think it's a very negative energy. I'm feeling drained. I feel like this person drained you of energy, and you were putting in a lot of energy actually, because you were trying to like heal something or get better through this person, and I feel like there was a moment where they were just like, I don't want to be around this person, you, anymore. And that moment was like something like, I just keep hearing the word ego. Like, I think that this person, you showed some like sass or something, but you may have just been joking, or you may just be like a different kind of personality than they're used to, like a different kind of temperament, and then they just like decided you were rude or something, and you're like, I'm not being rude, I'm like, or maybe you were like over communicating for something, but instead of like setting boundaries, they were just like, oh, you're like insane, and you were just like, okay, I was just like stressed for a second. I just feel like it was for the best though. I feel like this is about this is a negative public reputation. I feel like this person actually does have a bit of a negative reputation that you don't know about. Because I feel like they're sort of blind to, I think they just do this, they've done this to other people. Like, they just sort of like end things. They're just like, well, I'm done now. And then they're just like blind to the repercussions that they've caused for themselves in doing this. Like you are not the only person. And it's because it's all about me with this person. It's all about like what's best for them. And that lends itself to like no commitment. And the person that they're with, if they're with someone, kind of has to just deal with that. Also, this person may have a toxic partner or parent or family member or friend that was pushing them to break ties with you, and they really listened to that, and unfortunately you don't play around. I feel like you were just like, okay, see ya. Like, yeah, I feel like it's a really negative and dark energy actually from this person. Their like soul and their vibe is like very like hollow, like they feel empty inside. And you, yeah, okay, they had like a really preconceived notion of the world, and you came and like they had judgments about you just for multiple things, and then they'd be like, you proved them wrong on like a bunch of their preconceived notions, which they did not like. They were like, oh, she or he is actually like really smart. Or when they were like, you know, in the beginning I said they thought you were dumb. And it's actually that they just think this type of person is dumb. Like maybe you're an artist, or maybe you're a musician, or maybe you're like a kinesthetic learner or an athlete, and they're like, I'm the smart one here, this person's an idiot. And you were like, no, I'm really smart. Or it could have been like, you know, I'm also just hearing the word insult. I think this person just like resorted to like just outright insulting you to see if you would like take off, and eventually you were like, I get it, you're not nice and you don't like me. I'm sorry that happened. And I think that actually this person may be mentally unwell. And I think that it resulted in you kind of being like, well, you know what, you're a jerk, and maybe some like, maybe narcissist or something like. But I think they really were acting that way, and you were just like kind of naming the behavior. I think this person likes fights. They like drama, they like conflict, and they also may have enlisted other people to make you a villain somehow, and you were completely caught unaware, because this person is like very, I think at one point they may have been obsessed with like their role that they had with you, which may have felt like they were superior to you. And I'm not sure what happened, where they were like kicked off their throne or something. But something you said was like, they were like, that's rude, or like, they're a B word, or like a whatever, a D word. And you're in whatever they're fixating on that you said, you're like, I didn't like mean it like that. Or maybe you were just like joking. But I think for you, like realizing that, you know, some people are just like broken and not taking it so personally. I think that you have a lot of depth, actually, viewer. I'm sensing you're a very depthful person, and you try to make sense. You're also like maybe concerned a lot with like morality and like doing right and wrong, like doing right and not doing wrong. And so when people like lie or like manipulate or like just are cruel, you're just like, why? But there really isn't a rhyme or reason. The answer is dysfunction and human behavior. I mean, human dysfunction, human cruelty. A lot of people have very damaging childhoods that never, especially men, that like they never get help with. And I'm not saying like other things can't be like really hard too. Like there's so many things in life as adults that we experience, but I think this person in particular has some really like unusual childhood trauma having to do with like physicality. Like I don't think they were like beaten, but I think they had some like accidents maybe, or like maybe a car accident or something scary that like, it's almost like the adrenaline that comes with intimacy and closeness, it reminds them of that experience, that PTSD of like a car crash or whatever happened, dangerous situation. I also just think that your energy challenge them, because you were like in some light, actually. Like you were like, I'm just seeing that you were like funny. So in retrospect, you're like, why did this happen? I think actually what you were seeing was this person deteriorating and making things worse and worse, and not you. And you put it on yourself as like my thing. What does Spirit want us to know as a closing message for this reading? Because, you know, I want you to know that you're valuable, and this is just a learning lesson about like who we open our heart to and who we trust. Even if it was like a more formal relationship that you somehow became very close. I'm getting that you really were very hurt and spent a lot of time recovering and healing from this. And so I want a healing message from Spirit for you, a closing healing message. That's not the right card. So this isn't the most healing maybe, but you know, I see this is like coming out of strife, like just letting, when it's reversed, it's like letting go of any sort of like situation where people are doing petty fighting. It's like you're just like over it, and you're just like also don't have the energy to even think about these situations anymore. Because I think there may be other people that you've had this similar story with in different ways. And Temperance, like, and I'm reading it here as like, just take it easy. Like, don't think too much about something that's negative, and don't try to make reason out of things that you don't know. Like this person also, when I tune into their energy, I just heard the word like chicken shit. Like, I think they're like scared to like do like real trauma work, like which is required in any real relationship, like that's intimate, is like to just be like, we're gonna talk about our trauma, because that's the only way to move forward and to understand each other's idiosyncrasies and flaws and issues. And they were like, this is where I stop, because you were getting a lot out of them. I don't think this is a bad person. I think they're like actually just a mean person, and they have this like facade or like mask of like being this like actually spiritual person, and you broke that mask with your spirituality that was like above and beyond. Yeah, okay, so they're feeling very competitive with you, and like you were just like, I'm just seeing like several instances where they were just like feeling less than because of your light and your energy. And well, I don't know what happened in their childhood besides some sort of like physical thing that was dangerous and scary. I know that they don't feel equipped to deal with the full spectrum or range of emotions. And if someone's being reactive because of something terrifying happened in their life, it reminds them of that event, and they point the finger and make the person bad instead of realizing they were once that person in that state of reactivity because they were scared and didn't have control because they were dealing with a traumatic event. So it's like okay, yeah, I think at a certain point in the situation you were actually going through something really traumatic, and it was like they were like, oh, this is like high drama and I just like things light because that's what I can do, because it's the best for my day and my schedule and my life. Yeah, so they were just like, they just cut you off. And you know, also this person changed, and I think you changed. I think in the beginning it was more like you let them kind of be a little bit outlandish because you were waiting to see if it would like even out, and then it just like got worse and more lopsided and disrespectful. Okay, I keep asking for a final card, but this really is our final card. I'm sorry, that just wasn't the best ending point. 10 of Pentacles. So this person, still, I guess it's not that healing. They may have like a family or be married or be part of a family that it's like very money focused or like image focused, and they're just like putting their focus on that because they don't, I think they actually thought about you a lot and maybe had like some sort of crush on you, and that was really terrifying for them because they were like, I don't want to leave all my old patterns and my life, my home, and so they're just like got rid of you, because in truth they can see some sort of like union because you were so accepting of their flaws, but in the end they realized that like they ruined it with their judgment of you, is how I want to read this here, that you felt very judged by the way they pushed you out. You were like, obviously there's something about me that they like are deeming as unacceptable, but in your heart you're like, I know that I'm good and acceptable. And yeah, just let it be and let the dust settle and try to move on, and just know that there are no mistakes. You know, it's just like, obviously live and learn, but also like live and let live, which is what they say in Al-Anon. Like, we don't need to like understand people's reasons fully, but this is the best that I can give you. What we do need to do is understand our reasons for doing things fully and our motives for living a joyful life. And I've found lately in my life, just on a personal note, the best way to think is positive always. And I know that's because I have Jupiter conjunct my sun and ascendant. So it's kind of like toxic positivity. But if you don't think that way, you can slide really easy into what ifs and the bad things and the negative things. And so I guess I'm saying a little toxic positivity couldn't hurt right now, because I think you're in a tender space of like obsessing about why this person rejected you. And it's sort of like, hey, there's going to be more relationships. There's going to be other people that are more trustworthy. There's going to be people who care. And this is not the only person in the world. There's millions of people in the US alone that you could date. I think it's 8 million people in New York City, probably more than that now, but I'm just saying, like, okay, there's a great movie called, I don't even think I watched the whole thing. I think I just watched part of it, but I just like loved it. Loved the premise of it. I should really watch it again. It's just like, it's called like Sharp Stick, and it's a Lena Dunham movie who I sometimes get jealous of because she had so many privileges and opportunities, but whatever. So I guess it's her destiny and her fate. Good for her. But you know, some of the art is interesting. Some of it's generic, but what was I gonna say? Lena Dunham. Why am I mentioning her? Oh my god, I just had a total brain fart. Well, I guess I can mention that she was rejected by, in her mind, the relationship with Jack Antonoff ended in a rejection, and now he's dating like some, you know, sort of antithesis to her, and I'm sure that's hard for her, but what was I gonna say about her? Something really important. I don't really remember the reason for bringing her up, but it still matters here. Her like archetype and her persona. Maybe just that character Hannah from Girls, that like, you know, she was really different and like she really challenged the status quo. I'm getting that that's like an energy here, that you're like that, and this actually scared this person. And I think that they tried multiple times to get rid of you, and you like kept being like, we can make it work, I like care about you, and they were just like, they shut off at a certain point. Anyway, if I think of what I was gonna say about Lena Dunham, I'll put it below. I mentioned the movie Sharp Stick, which is about a girl who has an affair with an older man, and then he goes back to his wife and she's crushed, and then she sort of like has this sexual liberation where her friend is basically like, there's like tons of guys out there, like this is just one guy, And so I'm kind of seeing that for you, even if this wasn't like an intimate relationship in that way, that you like, from this pivot point, you realize like, oh, like this person didn't really have the emotional tools I needed, and I'm gonna go find that somewhere. Yeah.